Welcome to the sixth episode of the Cricket Preview Podcast with Jay and Sudeep. We are recording this episode after big win of Afghanistan, record-breaking. Afghanistan qualifies for the first time for the semi-final in the ICC events, and we are recording a day after that. Jay, how was your World Cup journey so far, and how are your predictions working so far?
Hello, everyone, and thanks for tuning in. Yes, I think this World Cup has definitely lived up to the expectations because we built it up as a 20-team World Cup, and we're excited because so many teams, other than the main teams, were in it, and I think the other teams have certainly created a buzz in this World Cup. And I think the main story of the World Cup, I think, has been about either Afghanistan or USA because these two teams have created a major stir in the global cricket. So, like you mentioned, Afghanistan creating history and qualifying for the very first time at the World Cup semi-final. It was such a joy to watch. It was late here in the United States, almost close to 1 a.m. in the morning, with different rain breaks, stops, and some cramps. It was drama. It was almost like watching a complete drama movie. So it was fantastic. Overall, I think it's great for the cricket, especially because we are from Nepal and we follow a lot of Nepali cricket. It is really good for someone like Nepal or other teams who want to make it big in cricket because let's not forget until I think about 15 or 16 years ago, Afghanistan were playing in Division 5 with the likes of Japan. So and Nepal was not far from there. So we also made the journey, and Afghanistan are the most improved cricket team in the global world, and it's fantastic to see. And it's a kind of a role model, an example that every other country who aspire to be there can follow. And yeah, it's been great. What have you enjoyed most about the World Cup so far?
I think, as you said, Associate Nations USA as was I think the biggest surprise and the first surprise coming up in the tournament. USA defeating Pakistan and that was the moment we knew it's going to be a 20 team World Cup. It's going to be interesting and fantastic. And so far, as you said, the World Cup has been a drama like the yesterday's game. And the most we are going to talk about Afghanistan a little more in a while. But as you said, they have set a platform for all the associate nations who can achieve big in coming 10 to 15 years if they keep their process right. But in today's episode, it was, as we talked earlier, it has been an interesting 20-team World Cup in 4 groups. From there, 2 teams from each group qualified for the Super 8s, and Super 8s again had 2 groups, Group 1 and Group 2. And Group 1 had India, I was expecting Pakistan. So still Pakistan in numbers. No, there was India, Australia, another big team, and Bangladesh, and of course, Afghanistan. India doing pretty well, not defeated yet in the tournament as they do always in the league stages, but we never know what happens in the semi-final. Afghanistan defeating Australia, another surprise, and Afghanistan qualifies for the semi-final. Bangladesh looked quite lost overall, and even in yesterday's game, I don't know what they were doing. And Australia way back their flight to home. How did you like this group? What were your expectations?
Yeah, I think once we saw the 2 groups of Super 8 forming, Group 1 and Group 2, we all felt Group 1 is the kind of a straightforward group. Most people, I would say, expected India and Australia to make out of this group. Of course, Brian Lara didn't because he expected Afghanistan to make it the semi-final, and what a prediction it was. So, yeah, it was kind of written, the script was written for India and Australia to qualify for the semi-final, but I think you have to give credit to Afghanistan because not only did they qualify by beating Bangladesh yesterday, they defeated the mighty Aussies, and I think that has to be the highlight of their journey. And yeah, that means that they thoroughly deserve to be in the semi-final by defeating Australia. Like you mentioned, India also defeated Australia. They have been really convincing so far at the World Cup. I think them and South Africa are the 2 teams that are not defeated, but I think South Africa have not been as convincing as India have been. So uh, again, defeating Australia, who defeated them in the World Cup final not so long ago, must have felt good for the people back in India. And Rohit Sharma with a fantastic innings, I think. And I think India looks in a really good shape going into the semi-final. I think their only one concern, one really major concern, would be the obvious one with Virat Kohli not clicking so far in the tournament. I think other than one game against Bangladesh, I think he hasn't performed. So, what do you make of that? Do you expect India to tinker with the opening combination, or they will continue to back Virat Kohli?
I don't think at this point of time they'll do any tinkering because everyone else other than that is doing pretty well. Shivam Dube here and there, not yet convincing, but I don't think this is the time to come and change your squad unless there is any injury concern or anything. But I don't think there's any injury concern. They used three pacers in the beginning, but since the Super 8, they have used Kuldeep very well, and he has bowled very well. He has been amongst the wicket taker and very economical. So I don't think they're going to make any changes. But Rohit Sharma has been on very spot on at the moment type of captain. So we never know if there's anything surprise in the pitch. But Virat Kohli, I don't think they are going to worry. They are not going to change any combination in the batting at this moment. So other than Rohit has been an example since ODI World Cup. He's taking the charge. He's playing the attacking cricket that India is supposed to play, and he's setting the template perfectly. Who do you think has surprised you from India's squad in a good way or a bad way? Who do you think is a big surprise in the tournament for you?
Yeah, I think coming off a really terrible IPL, you have to say Hardik Pandya has been a really positive surprise for India because it seemed not so long ago, less than a month ago, that nothing was going right for the man. There were there were people booing him, both his fans and other fans. So yeah, from that to have a turnaround like this and not only perform with the bat, which has been really amazing because he's played some handy innings with the bat and in the old Hardik Pandya style, we know, aggressive innings, but also he's bowled consistently throughout the tournament and he's picked up wickets. I think those wickets have been really crucial in different stages of the game. So I think I was hoping that Hardik Pandya comes good for Indian's sake, but I was not expecting this kind of turnaround from him. So I think that has been the real surprise. And in the bowling department, I'll say Arshdeep. I was not expecting him to perform this well. He's the leading wicket taker for India in the T20 World Cup. So that was another positive surprise. Yeah, I think overall the team that Rohit Sharma picked and the team management backing seems to be working. I think like they say, you can never discount like Virat Kohli in a big game. So I'm thinking he might approach the semifinal slightly differently. Again, it will depend upon the toss and what the target is, or whether or not they are setting the target. I think when India are chasing a decent target, I think Virat Kohli might come good in the big stage. So uh, let's say, and let's go back to Afghanistan because Afghanistan are the second team to qualify from the group. And what has impressed you the most of this Afghanistan?
I think their energy is it looks completely different. I think they are one of the most determined team, and they look like the old days of cricket. We used to see that passion at even winning and losing, the passion, and they're expressing that. We don't see those kind of expressions other than Virat Kohli, of course. We don't see that kind of expressions. But the way Rashid Khan was throwing his bat because he didn't get another run yesterday, and for all the players from the coaching staff, you see Duan Bravo running after winning against Australia, and you see Jonathan Trott making strategies like almost like a football game where the coach was on the pitch almost and was strategizing and telling them to slow down. So it's the whole team. It's just not 11 players. It's like the whole Afghanistan and whole squad is like together and they want to win this. And like as Brian Lara was only the genius to predict this, and as Nasir said today earlier, that they if they are winning, it's not a surprise anymore because it has been seen in their preparation for the last 12, 18 months, the way they have prepared and the way they have shown their determination. It's very, very, very interesting. And their openers looks like playing slow at some moments, but they pick up somehow. They are not losing wickets and they are making target good enough for the bowlers to chase. But Afghanistan has a very good bowling lineup led by Rashid Khan, who is amongst the wickets. Uh, didn't look good in the initially, but now he's back. He's taking wickets against the crucial teams, and even the pace bowling is pretty impressive. What do you say about the pace bowling attack of Afghanistan?
Yeah, that really has been one of the biggest improvements in their overall team structure, because in the past they used to rely a lot on their spinners, Mujib, Rashid, and other spinners, Nabi, of course. So in this World Cup, they have really been impressive with the pace bowling department. Also, I think they have they have two people in the top three most wicket taking in the World Cup. I think Faruqi and Naveen, or maybe it's Rashid. So they're very close. So I think three people being there and two of them being medium pacer is really impressive for cricket in Afghanistan in general, and that has been really impressive because let's not forget the first semi-final game tomorrow against South Africa is a day-night game. So they need to have the pace bowling attack in good conditions to challenge against South Africa, because wicket in the power plays are going to be really important. As we've seen,
Uh,
it's not easy to get away against spin, especially spin of Afghanistan in the middle overs. So the fast bowlers need to set up the tone. And like you mentioned, their opener has been playing to their strengths, really not trying to go too far ahead, knowing their bowlers can restrict any team to a respectable total. So I think overall the team looks good. Not all the players in the middle order have clicked, so they will be hoping that they will chip in at some point. And yeah, if they do, Afghanistan will I'm hoping they will compete and give it a really good game against South Africa.
Yeah, before we go into the next, I think Jonathan Trott and Duane Bravo, the kind of cool minds they have in the background, are helping them a lot and keeping them real. As you said, not just playing to their strength, nothing trying to do, nothing extraordinary. And of course, they would want their middle order to click, or like the middle order turn never comes and they keep winning. Either way, it's fine for Afghanistan. Moving on to the another surprise of the group, Australia. From trying to knock out England by losing to Scotland to going themselves out, what do you think did work for them?
Yeah, like you mentioned, I think one of the most disappointing or uncharacteristic thing about Australia this World Cup has been their fielding. They dropped, I think, six catches in one game against Scotland. The game that you were talking about, where they were allegedly trying to lose, or yeah, take England out. So yeah, from there on, I think that the downfall really started, and they've been dropping too many catches for an Australian team. I've never seen Australian team at any stage drop this many catches and been so sloppy in the field. I think that has been one of the things. I was never really convinced with Mitchell Marsh being a captain when likes of Pat Cummins, who's been so successful in all formats in leagues. I think that was maybe a rushed move. I don't know if Pat Cummins wanted uh, to take a break or it was a management decision, but I think in crunch moments, I think having someone like Pat Cummins who've been there, done that, would have been helpful. I didn't see a lot of that coming from Mitchell Mars. And yeah, there were some issues with selection. I think in the IPL we saw really attacking batters like Fraser McCook, who was not selected, and the likes of David Warner were trusted, who had a decent World Cup. I think in the group stage, especially, was decent, but I think after that he tailed off. So that was again fantastic player, a legend of the game. who is retiring from all formats. So good luck with him. But I think that might have been one of the things where you could see that Australia were not as ruthless as we're used to see Australia of the past, because they always go with the player in form. But I think this time they probably went with reputations, and yeah, it's always a fine balance between experience and youth. But I think in T20, I would much rather lean towards youth than experience. So I think that's probably one of the areas that Australia will look into going into the next World Cup cycle, because it's not until I think 2027. So there's going to be a time to rebuild, I think, in Australian cricket, especially for T20 cricket. So let's
Yeah,
go.
exactly as you said.
Yeah.
As fielding was below par, very disappointing fielding, and some of the captaincy calls you may say were not on board, and that's very unlike Australia. We have never seen such Australia, and I think the biggest thing, they took Afghanistan too lightly because they rested Mitchell Stark for that game. That was uh, a, a big surprise for me, and I think they got a little much over the head. They are going to win it the way they were coming in the tournament. As we talked earlier, Pat Cummins was like one of the teams who's gonna be in the semifinals. That's Australia. Rest three can be anything. And going to the Scotland game, also they were like, we may lose just to knock out England. So I think they were too much over the head, and this was a reality check they needed going ahead for the further World Cups. And I think it's good, and it's good for the tournament. I guess we don't want Australia winning all the tournaments always. So I
I
think
mean,
everything went,
if
yeah.
if we look at how it went for Australia against India, you might think that they made a mistake by not resting Stark against India, because I think that over where Rohit Sharma took him for 29, I think that really gave the momentum India in that game, and I think that was maybe one of the difference in the game. But like you mentioned, yeah, resting someone like Stark, was bowling well before that, so that might have affected his rhythm and momentum. So. Yeah, I think back to the
And
drawing
of course,
board
with
more
a
for.
team like Afghanistan who doesn't play pace that well, so I think that was overconfident call or something, but that happens. They had to lose. So this if they would have won T20 World Cup, it would have been third ICC event that they win within 2 years. So I think it's good for cricket. They are on the way back home. So one last team of the group, Bangladesh. Not sure how did they qualify to the Super 8. Sri Lanka being too poor and Nepal not playing their part, but pretty disappointing.
Yeah, I think that's been the story of Bangladesh for a long time now. I think when we talk about countries like Afghanistan, who's made steady progress in the scene, and despite not having uh, the, the same amount of infrastructure, stability back home, they don't even have a home ground. Although I think there are talks of them inviting other countries like Nepal, for example, to their home, which would be really nice for them, and they deserve it. But I think for a long time they don't have their own home. They've played cricket for the most part in the Middle East or India sometimes. So from there they have made a lot of progress, but the same cannot be said for Bangladesh. I think it's time for Bangladesh to go back to the drawing board, and especially for the T20, back the youth, because like we saw in the under 19 World Cup, there are some really young people coming up in Bangladesh, and it's at some point you have to give them the chance. It will not work. It may not work, but you'd rather have them try and gain experience than keep playing the old guns again, like Sakib and Mahmudullah. I think they've done great service to the nations, but I think it's time for them to make way, especially in T20 format, for the young people who are in the pipeline. So I think for Bangladesh, it's been a disappointing story. They did have some nice prospects like Rishad. He was really good with his leg spin, and I think Tanjim was also really nice. And yeah, Mustafizur is always good. So they have some kind of strength there, especially in the bowling attack. I think in the batting lineup, they need to look into their domestic structure and try to trust the youth really. I think that's the only message I have for Team Bangladesh. And yeah, try to keep improving because they have been
As
well.
talking about their, I think, improvement. What did you think of their approach after eighth over? They had a chance to win. They either win or lose. They were if they win, they qualify for the semifinals. If they lose at 10th over or 11th over or by 19th over, it there was no sense in playing, or they just wanted to win Afghanistan, or what was the mindset of? I can't think of it.
Yeah, like we mentioned ahead, I think Afghanistan had calm heads of Jonathan Trott and Dwayne Bravo in the background who've seen it all and been around the world. I don't see the messaging across Bangladesh and from the management, team management, from the coaches. I didn't see the urgency, and that really flows into the team. So not only I blame the players, of course, because they were the ones who were supposed to do it, but also the management, the coaching staff, I think, have to take responsibility for that, because what they did yesterday was really below par. They were neither going for the 12 over win or even 20 over win. So again, I think the fans back home in Bangladesh would rather see Bangladesh all out trying to chase the total in 12 overs than what they did yesterday. I think there was no point trying to win that game after 12 overs. So I think that's where they get it horribly wrong, and they didn't even win. So I think that's the kind of mindset they have to improve going forward.
Yeah, I'm sure Bangladeshi fans because had the same feeling as you said, because I was talking to one of my Bangladeshi friends here, and he was like, they couldn't understand why they are not trying to win within 12 overs. So, yeah, so that was the story of Group One with India and Afghanistan qualifying for the semifinals, and Afghanistan is going to play against South Africa tomorrow. That's a day-night game, as you said earlier, and India is going to play England. It's going to be 2021 story kind of repeated again on Thursday, and that's a day game, of course. So South Africa and England qualifying from other group. How did you see? Of course, I think we have talked a little bit about South Africa already. How did you see England narrowing down, skipping somewhere from the bottom and reaching to the semifinals?
Yeah, in big tournaments, you always hear people say about peaking at the right time, and it seems like England are doing that. And it was looking dismal after their loss against Australia, and yeah, a couple of rain scares in the group stage, like you mentioned. But I think after that, they've really picked up, and they have shown their class, and they have made it to the semi-final consecutively in the last 4 T20 World Cups, having won the last one. They are the defending champions, so a defending champion have never defended a T20 World Cup, so they have the opportunity to do this. And I think the credit goes to the whole setup. I think after what Owen Morgan and what he did, and they have kind of followed the template through the white ball cricket. And yes, they might have gone out with the rain scare, and then we might have had a different story. But I think after that, you cannot argue that they have dominated most of the teams. Again, I think they lost a crucial game, close game against South Africa, which made them again had to beat USA, and also they had to beat them handsomely to be certain about the run rate. But I think they defeated United States really handsomely, as you'd expect England to do. So I don't think they've been really convincing, but I think they're kind of looking like peaking at the right time in this tournament. So.
I think that has been the story of that group too, because it was jam-packed. Because West Indies were coming good from the group stage game. I was expecting West Indies to come out very good, and it was their home game. They have not qualified for the ODI World Cup, and T20 World Cup is their forte, and within their home. Everyone was expecting them to do good. What do you think went wrong West Indies' way?
Uh, yeah, I think West Indies, they were ranked, I think, ninth in T20 cricket not so long ago. And from there, they have made the journey up to the number 3 ranked team. So there has been a good progress within the space of 1 year. In this World Cup, I think they have played a good brand of cricket. They were playing at home. They had their advantage. And being a home team, I was hoping that they would be one of the teams to make it to the semifinals and finals, because it's always interesting in a tournament when you have a host team. But overall, I think West Indies have made some progress. They still lack some of the some of the things. I think their captain, Roman Powell, didn't contribute as much as a captain would like. I think he would himself admit that. But they made some interesting decisions. I think that cost them in a game against England. They didn't play, so I hope, and which might have been a different story. But yeah, I think overall West Indies played some good cricket in patches, and until the game against South Africa, which became a virtual quarterfinal, they were playing some good cricket, and I was hoping for them to do well, but they lost two big wickets early, and from there on, they never recovered and made a made a decent total. Again, although they did go close against West Indies, sorry, against South Africa, they could have won that game had they done something right. And I think when Rabada hit that boundary in the 19th over, or maybe it was 16th because it was a rain shortened over game. So I think from there on, and then of course Jansen hitting that six, their hopes crossed. But I think overall, cricket has united some people back in the Caribbean, which has been good. And yeah, I think if they can build upon that and take it from here, and because they have a lot of experience across the globe playing franchise cricket, they have the talent. It's just about exploiting those talents. And like we mentioned before, like likes of Dwayne Bravo in the Afghanistan lineup, and Karen Pollard is in the England coaching staff. So maybe they could be better off being in the West Indies team or somewhere in the think tank of West Indies team. So I think they should look at having players who've done good service for West Indies in their management, in their cricketing structure, and I think they should invest in their own strength.
Yeah, I think as you said, West Indies did not do much wrong. They were pretty much a good team going up. They played a good brand of cricket. They were explosive. They decent bowling lineup. I think that's where something they can improve. But yes, as you said, they had Darren Sammy, who was looking good in the management, and I think they need some more people like him, as you mentioned already, Bravo and Pollard. They can bring in the management and serve the country well. So West Indies are not bad, I would say. It was just things didn't go right at the right moment for them. So another surprise coming into that group was USA, who qualified, beating Pakistan in the group stages. How did you like USA overall? This was their first World Cup. They qualified as a host nation. Nobody expected anything. Even the playing team didn't have the leave for throughout the tournament. They had to extend their leave from Oracle. What did you make of the team, USA?
Yeah, I think they had a really nice group stage. Like you mentioned, they defeated Pakistan, who were, on the other hand, the disappointment of the tournament. But talking about USA, I think you have to say that they surprised so many people. The goal of the tournament being in the United States was to expand cricket and grow cricket in Americas, and I think United States doing well has helped ICC a lot in achieving that. Of course, it's going to take time to grow, but what they've done by being in the Super 8 is ensure that they will also play in the coming ODI World Cup in 2026. So I think that's a big positive, and they can definitely be proud of that achievement. Cricket is also in the Olympics in the next Olympics in Los Angeles, so that's also going to help to grow cricket in America. So I think you can see that cricket might progress in the US, which has been the most important thing coming out of the World Cup. But yes, like we saw at the Super 8 stages, they were slightly exposed. I think they ran out of steam and they couldn't perform against the big teams like England or West Indies and South Africa. So they will have to invest in their domestic structure, like we say. I think the game behind the game is going to be really important, because I was reading the other day that from now on to the next World Cup, even though they have qualified, they don't have any games scheduled currently in their calendar. So that has to be looked at. That has to change. And like we say, USA has all the infrastructure. They have the money, they have everything. If they get it right, they can invite any team, any team in the USA to play any series, really. And of course, you have to have a competitive team. So you might have to start with some teams like Scotland, Ireland, and yeah, those kind of teams. And again, even Caribbean team, West Indies A team could be a good tour for America. So they have to invest in their cricket. How they shape up their cricket from now coming on to the next World Cup is going to be really important for not only US cricket but also cricket globally, because we need more countries who have the resources in cricket. So I think overall USA had a journey that they can be proud of in this World Cup, but there's room for improvement for sure.
Yeah, while we were talking, my AirPods ran out of battery, but I'm gonna stick to that's what happens sometimes. But yeah, talking about USA, yes, of course, they have resources, they have money, they can invite any team, and I think, as you said very clearly, the idea would be to bring teams like Ireland, Scotland, who are strong associate nations. Even Ireland is a full team; it's not even associate. But even Ireland don't have much games. Scotland don't have much games. So inviting those and as Nepali fan, I would say bring Nepal as well. But to realistic, there's every opportunity for USA to organize a mini World Cup in themselves because they have the money. And if you believe me, the audience, even for the USA games, although there were many South Asian peoples as expected, but there was crowd. So going ahead, if USA organizes any tournament, we are going to see the crowd, and that's very, very important for the game. And some of the likes of their fast bowling left arm, Netra Walker, who looks fit enough to play a few more years and maybe up to the next World Cup as well. He's bringing in the crowd, and of course, those young kids watching him take wicket of Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli are inspired to become a left arm pacer for USA. So overall, looking very good, but background work has to be continued. So we have talked about West Indies and USA, and of course England and South Africa. The heartbreak still hurts for us. The one-run defeat. It took a while to come over that, but we are going to talk about Nepal cricket, Nepal journey of World Cup in our next episode. But South Africa doesn't look that promising in all the games, but I think Markram has been excellent with his captaincy. Some of the changes he's making, they're winning games. That's the most important thing.
Yeah, definitely. I think you would not say to a team who has won all the games leading up to the semifinal that they've not been good or convincing, but that has been the case. And I think, other than the game against USA and maybe the first game against Sri Lanka, I think they have won all the games really close. They have run even, I mean, the game against Nepal, like we talked, but also against Bangladesh, where they won by four runs, and the game against West Indies, where they shouldn't have taken that far, but they took it to the last over and they were close. So, yes, I think the good thing, I guess, from South African point of view is that you haven't played really good cricket, but you have made to the semifinals. So that can be a good thing, because if you play good, you can beat other teams, and especially a team like Afghanistan. They're expected to beat. They will be the favorites in that semifinal, even though you cannot discount Afghanistan by any stretch of the imagination, for sure. I think for them, Quinton de Kock has looked good in the couple of games. They're opening his partner, Rija Hendricks. I think he hasn't looked good at all. He's struggling. So if they have someone in their lineup, I don't know their squad, I don't remember, but if they have someone who can bat in the top order, I would be tempted to change that. Other than that, I think, like you mentioned, captaincy of Makram has been really good. Like, he has done something that is not in the template, really, because he even bowled Rabada, I don't know, really late in the last game. So and he was good. So I think the bowling lineup looks really good. I think it's the batting where they've been struggling the most, I would say. But overall, I think, again, an undefeated team. So we expect them to perform good. And usually against the thing that goes against South Africa is a knockout stage. So even though they haven't yet played a knockout, but like we mentioned, the game against West Indies was kind of a knockout. So hopefully they will be hoping that they got the monkey off their back from that game.
Yeah, but as I said, yeah, Quentin de Kock has come good in last few games. Batting wise, him and Klassen looks good. Other than even Miller is have a decent mix, 10, 20 runs, but nothing much than that. But bowling has come really good, and captaincy is extraordinary. Like you talked in the other game, he brought Rabada only in 14th or 15th over, and he bowled 4 overs of his quota before that. So it was quite on the spot captainship, not football kind of coaching going on there, taking decisions on the pitch, which we like. But I think for the growing teams like Afghanistan, we need that football kind of grooming as well. Markham looked good, captainship looked good, and they are into the semi-finals undefeated like India, and they will be playing Afghanistan tomorrow. So it's kind of prediction time. Who do you think is going to win that game?
Uh, yeah, my heart says Afghanistan. I want Afghanistan to do well, of course, but you have to be honest. I think South Africa, as a more experienced team, more has the more resources, and they will go into the game as favorites. But I think if you let's say that game is before the tournament, you'd probably give a lot more to South Africa than now because the momentum is with Afghanistan. Uh, so if it was a day game, I think I was expecting more spin to play a part, but because it's a night game, I think the medium pace is also going to be. I think if Afghanistan win the toss again or get the bat again and make a decent score, anything above 140, 150, I think they will give a good fight against South Africa. But I'm going to slightly back South Africa because I think after the last night, the emotions and everything, Afghanistan might be slightly below par in the semifinal. I hope not. I am hoping for a really good contest, and I would more than be happy to see Afghanistan go through. But I would predict if I'm a betting person, I would probably predict South Africa in that game. How about you?
I'm going with Afghanistan. And of course, Brian Lara. I'm backing Brian Lara. Let's say that. But just kidding. Afghanistan should go through. The momentum is with you. Yeah, you rightly mentioned. Uh, South Africa is more experienced, but they are not experienced in knockout games. We know that. So anything can happen, and it's kind of nothing to lose for Afghanistan. So I'm backing Afghanistan to go through this game. And the second game, the big India versus England. Uh, who do you back there?
Yeah, that's going to be a really interesting one. I think looking at the form, uh, it suggests that India are in a better form than England. If we only look at the this World Cup, but we've seen India in the past World Cups. Not to forget the last one against England in the semi-final, where England totally outclassed India and won that by 10 wickets. So uh, I think Indian fans will be hoping for a different story. They've they've managed to do that against Australia. So I'll probably back India. I think looking at everything and their form, India look really solid, and I'm backing Virat Kohli to come good at some point, and what better occasion than a semi-final of the World Cup to do so. So I would back India in that game, but yeah, I'm hoping it to be a really good contest for sure.
Yeah, I think that has been an issue with India. They win big in the league games, and when it comes to the knockout, they lose big. It's not even goes to the close games. We remember losing 10 wickets against Pakistan back, and then again losing with England, a big one. But yes, still I'm backing up India as they look good. So they should be, and we are gonna see India Afghanistan final for me and India South Africa for you.
Yeah, that's the prediction. And what's the, let's say, who wins it? What's the final prediction for you? I guess we
For me, India is winning the World Cup.
yeah
What about
I,
you?
yeah, I'm backing India also. Yeah, they have been the strongest team and informed team. So this might be the year after 2007 that they actually win it. Although I will not be averse to winning, having a new team win it, which would be either South Africa or Afghanistan. So uh, yeah, whoever makes through from that semifinal is going to play the first final and have the opportunity to be the first time winner of the T20 World Cup, which is really good because many teams have actually won the T20 World Cup. So that'll be
Yeah,
interesting for
although
sure.
although I'm backing up India, Afghanistan winning the World Cup could revolutionize the cricket in world actually, and that will open the floodgates for cricketing nations all over the world. So with the hopes of that, I would say thank you to all of you for listening to us. It was a wonderful episode. We'll be coming back again after the final game of the World Cup, and we'll be also coming back with Nepal's journey to the World Cup, that special episode. So thank you very much for your time. Looking forward to Euro and Copa America as well.
Definitely, and yeah, cricket is going to continue, of course, after this also. So yeah, we'll keep you posted, and yeah, thank you for tuning in, and hope you have a good time.